Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Carrie, and here on Caring with Carrie we talk all things kids, and today we're going to be talking about my kid. So I had a comment on one of my last videos, somebody asking like, hey, can you talk about how there are some things in pregnancy that are taboo or TMI or not really talked about. And I thought that was a really great idea, just because I know that there are a lot of first-time moms out there who may be feeling alone and having these symptoms, and I just want to let you know my experience in pregnancy and what kind of gross things I've had to deal with since becoming pregnant. This is probably a video where if you have kiddos hanging around, I would say stop the video for now and come back and watch it later. I am going to be using like actual terminology for body parts, so you might not want little ears to listen. If you're eating right now, probably also not the best time to be watching this video. But again, I just want to make this video so that if you are a first-time mom, you don't feel alone in having these symptoms that are just not really talked about. Sometimes you will see them in your baby app if you have pregnancy apps or whatever for each week of your pregnancy, and you read all the articles. I know I'm a first-time mom, so I'm that person. I'm like, every little article on my 3 pregnancy apps I read, and so I've seen some of these there, but for the most part it's just not really talked about. First one up is farting.
Nice.
Or gas in general, so farting and burping, okay? It's just gonna happen a lot more when you get pregnant, and it starts from the beginning. You have a hormone, I believe it's called relaxin, that just kind of relaxes your body and gets it good and ready to be like stretching and growing and eventually opening up for birth, right? This relaxin also relaxes your digestive system, so as things go through it, they move through it a lot slower, and that allows for gas buildup in your digestive system more than normal. When it's just moving through at a good pace, you're not going to have time for that food to sit and kind of create that gaseousness in your digestive system. Just so you know, like, even talking like this with y'all, I just ate not too long ago. I am probably going to be editing out me burping so many times. It's just a part of pregnancy. It's gross, yeah, but you get over it. Your husband gets over it, or at least he should, and you move on, right? Just understand that, yes, it's going to happen more. It's going to be uncomfy to have to deal with, but you're not alone in that. That definitely happens for me, and it happened for me from like week 4 or 5. Like very, very early on, I was dealing with these symptoms. And then even now, I think it gets worse too when the baby grows to the point where it's squishing your like intestines, because then everything is like all together and all that build up together. Yeah, it's just not pleasant. On that note, constipation is extremely common for that same reason, the moving slow through the digestive system. And then as you get into the 3rd trimester, again, everything just kind of being like squished up, and it taking a while for the food to kind of get where it was going freely through before. Now it's like, okay, I'm like really squished trying to get through this digestive tract. Yes, I just impersonated food. Anyways, that is kind of the idea that you have to have in your mind when you're thinking of like, why do I have these symptoms? But with the constipation, I know a lot of mamas swear by Colace. I take Colace daily only because I have to take iron, and iron definitely constipates you. And a lot of prenatals have iron in it, so if your prenatal has iron in it, check that out, and you might want to be getting on Colace. I would suggest Colace over other things. Like, don't get laxatives, you know, unless you just like have been stopped up for a while. Yeah, just really any stool softener will probably be fine. This is not medical advice. Double check with your provider. Make sure that whatever you choose to take is safe. But I know that generally across the board, Colace usually is. Next thing, hemorrhoids. So this one is actually a little weird for me to talk about. I have heard pregnant women talk about how painful hemorrhoids are and how awful they are. Hemorrhoids are there from you pushing. And a lot of times when you're constipated, you're like doing more of that, right? Here's outside of the Colace what I would suggest. And again, this is like probably weird to talk about, but get you a little stool, okay? Those little fold out stools, get a little one of those, or you can get, they call them the squatty potties. I'm sure you've seen them. Where you like tuck it like around your toilet. Having your feet up, like it opens up your digestive system where it's not crinked up and you're not like having to try to like push it through a corner. And having your feet up like allows it to kind of be more like a straight shot. If that's like the best way that I can put it, especially for me because I'm short, and truth of the matter is my feet don't touch the ground from a lot of toilets. I am 5'1", so I always struggle with that, and so having a stool like helps me not to push, because I'm more like likely to just like chill and let it happen, right? Which is how you should be for your birth as well. You want to have that mindset, same mindset. I still get hemorrhoids, except, so I've gotten a couple. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so TMI, but I just, again, I want you to know you're not alone. When I'm taking a shower and I'm like cleaning, that's how I know I have a hemorrhoid, okay? It doesn't hurt, the ones that I have gotten, because the ones I've gotten are like on the outside. They're like kind of in my perineal area versus like actually on or in my anus. If you are unfortunate enough to get them in your anus, that is when it is really painful and it bleeds and it hurts to sit, and I really feel for you. I don't know like why I'm getting them in the weird spots I'm getting them. And also it's very weird because I'm like, okay, there's something down there. And I don't feel it unless I'm cleaning. And I'm like, okay, there's something down there, right? So I, I still use Preparation H whenever I know I have one, because, I don't know, it's just like annoying for it to be there when I'm trying to clean myself. And I don't want to like, I guess, accidentally cause it to bleed or something in my cleaning. Yeah, so hemorrhoids, super fun. I've heard that after birth they actually are a lot worse, just because you are actually pushing a baby out down there. So yeah, your blood vessels get kind of wacko down there, and hemorrhoids are for sure like a thing after birth. So at least if you have them during pregnancy, if you can find something that works for you to help get rid of them, that will help you for after birth as well. Again, I just use Preparation H. I use the cream and I think it works fine. Another thing is your nose. For me, it was around between beginning to middle of second trimester where this started up. My nose just got congested and pretty much has kind of been that way since. And that's, again, common. It's a really common symptom to have. I can't remember the reasoning behind it. Like, I can't remember why. But I guess it's something about more fluid in your body. I mean, you are going to have 50% more blood volume. So that pumping through as kind of probably concentrating, I'm guessing, fluids to the point where you're just like excreting more. Okay, so you're gonna have to be blowing your nose a lot. You're gonna have to be like dealing with boogers up in there all the time, dealing with feeling the congestion in your face, in your nose, and in your head. And some people don't have it as bad as others, but honestly, breathing through my nose is pretty rare. Most of the time I can try to get it taken care of like around bedtime, so at least I can breathe to sleep. I hate sleeping with my mouth open, but I know that there are times when I definitely do, because if I fall asleep before Tyler, he's like, you were snoring. What does he say? You were sawing logs. Last night I was like, oh great, and like sometimes he'll record me. It's just so great. Anyways, I'm like, oh yeah, snoring, yeah, that's gonna be a side effect of you not being able to breathe very well through your nose during pregnancy. If you are not at the stage in pregnancy yet where you are having to basically have like a stack of pillows because it's setting you halfway up on your bed, then just prepare for that, because the acid reflux is insane. Like, I will say this, I'll say this, if you don't eat sugar and you don't eat carbs, acid reflux way down, right? But for the most part, it is unavoidable no matter what, okay? And the crazy thing is, I think I talked about this in my last video, I could, you know, have not eaten in hours and hours and hours and wake up at 3 a.m. and have had reflux. I'm like, off of what? Off of what? My saliva? So yeah, acid reflux is another gross thing because it's definitely like food coming back up, right? And stomach acid coming back up. So that's like gross. I use my Lanta and Tums, and I talked about it in my last video. I'll link it here because I talked more in detail about what I use and how I use for that. But that's just another gross thing that, you know, maybe not a whole lot of pregnancy women are like posting pictures on Instagram with their bumps being like, my acid reflux is just horrible today. Another gross thing is down there, you're gonna smell and you're gonna have a lot of discharge. Like, since I found out I was pregnant, I've been having to wear a panty liner every day, and sometimes I'm having to change it out quite a few times during the day because my body's just producing more fluid. It's just part of pregnancy, and some people have it more than others. And when you're having discharge constantly down there, no matter how clean you keep it, there's going to be times where it smells. So again, mama, that is normal. If you're like, no, they're pregnant, forums talk about the smell and how it can be so bad. Just do your best to keep that area clean. Shave that area if it feels better for you. I know that sometimes I prefer it being like waxed down there because then like the scent isn't getting caught up in anything. And for the most part, I can manage it better when that's the case. So I think that's everything that I can think of as far as like TMI or taboo pregnancy things. I wanted to give a quick update on little Miss Charlotte. Supposedly 5 pounds 10 ounces as of today. I know that ultrasounds are not the most reliable way of measuring a baby's weight. However, it's all we have at this point, so we're just going off of it, and with the understanding that our baby could be a whole 1.5 pounds less than what they say on the ultrasound. That being said, 5 pounds 10 ounces. What? She's supposed to be like a lot less than that right now, but I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes. I can't remember if I actually talked about it yet in a video or not. I don't think I have. I was supposed to be getting tested for my glucose test with my first midwife, and then that fell through because we left her. And the second midwife, I don't think we even like had a chance to get to a point where she would even ask about that, and I'm honestly not sure she would have cared. So I, you know, went into this new OB at 32 weeks and like, hey, I haven't gotten a glucose test yet. So had to get that. Failed the first 1 hour, then I failed like all 3 of the test for the 3 hour. Only by a couple points, but still. I'm officially pricking my finger 4 times a day, watching what I eat. basically I have to try to keep my blood sugar glucose levels down, which so far up until this point the nurse midwife said I'm actually doing pretty good. Be helpful after this first week. I think I've kind of figured out, okay, what makes my blood sugar go up, what really bothers it, what irritates it. Sugar-free things don't necessarily like allow me to get a free pass. Like, sugar-free things are not that much better than sugary things. So I've learned that for my body. I've learned that carbs, while it can be real bad for some, is actually not super bad for me. Like, I can have carbs, like maybe even more than I like used to let myself. I try not to because of the right upper quadrant pain and the acid reflux, but it's difficult to avoid carbs completely. And if you ever try to go carb free, you know how that is. So I've learned that at least when it comes to carbs, I can have them in moderation and still be well under my glucose levels, which is good. But sugar really like is kind of out of the question. I was taking probiotic drinks that had a little sugar in them. No. My body said, yeah, that's a negative. You can't do that. So any little bit of sugar I have found really spikes my glucose levels. Hopefully I only had to avoid sugar for like 6 more weeks, and I can have tiny bits of sugar that's like in condiments and stuff, like in ketchup or whatever. I can have that and it not really affect me. So I'll be 34 weeks tomorrow. My nurse midwife said that I will be needing to get BPP ultrasounds every week. A BPP ultrasound is for basically on a score of 0 to 8, your baby is looked at for different things. So your baby has to move their arm or leg 2 times. They have to practice breathing 2 times. They have to move 2 times. But basically, if baby does not do those 4 things 2 times within 30 minutes, then you have to get sent over to the hospital and they do a non-stress test and just see how long it takes for baby to move or do those things. Today at our ultrasound, Charlotte did well. Within 2 minutes of the ultrasound, she had done the whole thing, gotten all 8 points there. She is still head down, except she turned to face the side today, so we actually got some side profile pictures, and I think I will try to put these up on my Instagram. So if you have not followed me over there on Instagram yet, follow me there. I will try to be posting these pictures at some point, but maybe we'll get to see a profile every week. She has both her hands and her feet by her face, which is kind of funny. She's always had her hands up by her face every ultrasound, but the feet thing was just funny to me, how she's getting them up there. So my doctor said that as long as I keep doing well with my diet, then she will let me run as long as I possibly can naturally, up until 42 weeks. If I'm not doing well with my diet, it's too late to start medication. So basically they would strongly recommend me get induced at 39 weeks. And of course, if BPP ultrasounds aren't going well, that would also mean an early arrival. I have faith that she is going to do okay, and I know that I can do this. I only have to do it for 6, at the very most 8 more weeks. So I'm confident that I can manage this diet and everything. And I know that no matter what happens, like, it's going to be God's plan. If she decides to come early, that would be great. I would not mind if she came at 38 weeks. She just kicked me when I said that. But yeah, if she came at 38 weeks, that would be great, because right now she's on track to be like an 8.5-pound baby at 40 weeks. God and her are the only ones that know the timing of when they're going to be ready to come. And I will just trust him in it and know that whatever path he puts me on is the one that I need to trust him in. So that's pretty much the update. Hopefully you were able to get some encouragement from today's video and that you're not alone. and that pregnancy can be gross, and there are a lot of TMI and taboo things that are not talked about in pregnancy that should be talked about within pregnancy realms, just because you shouldn't have to feel alone in having these symptoms. And anybody who judges you for having these symptoms when you're pregnant does not understand how pregnancy works in a woman's body, and that's going to be on them. You can try to look it up and inform them or send them information on why your body is doing what it's doing, but they should respect the fact that you are growing a human being and that there are going to be some things that are different about your body for a little while. I know I'm kind of close to the finish line, thank the Lord, but I feel like I have been pregnant for so long. And I know that it just seems like it was forever ago when we found out that we were actually pregnant back in February. Wow, such a long time ago. So if you are coming up along the same time as me, hang in there, mama. Hopefully I'll be back with another update soon. I do want to mention, so I am starting to put some YouTube shorts out, and a lot of them are things that I have on Instagram already. But I'm putting them out as YouTube shorts because YouTube shorts is doing a special, or YouTube is doing a special like fund. I think they're trying to get their YouTube shorts to be more popular and more watched. So they're doing a special fund where a certain amount of money is going towards YouTube shorts and the people that make them. I don't have enough subscribers on YouTube to actually be making any money right now. So this is a way for me to potentially maybe get a little tiny bit of income from YouTube. So if you're like, why is she posting stuff on her YouTube that's from the beginning of her pregnancy? That's why. It's because I'm doing the little YouTube shorts. Once I get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, that's when they start letting you put ads on your videos, and that's how like people on YouTube can make money, which is one long-term goal of mine. It's not the only goal. I love doing this. I love talking to the camera. I love like helping people out. Hopefully that's what I'm accomplishing here. But eventually, if I'm able to switch over to a full-time YouTube career and be a stay-at-home mom, I mean, I wouldn't be mad about that either. So definitely something I'm praying about for in the future. So if you want to help me out towards that end, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Make sure you tap the thumbs up for the like on this video. Share this video with your friends or other videos that I've put out that you think they might enjoy, and that will help me out a bunch. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.